once you get in here, you shouldn't treat this situation any differently than grass. The only thing you're gonna have to understand is that you don't have traction in here. It's slippery in a sense. So if you don't have the traction that you need, it's important to not swing hard. If you swing too hard, you're gonna even have more slip going on and lose traction and cause yourself to mishit it. So if I set a ball up here and I'm just gonna try to advance it out, if I take my normal stance and I don't swing very hard, that's my pitching wedge, and that was just a nice easy swing. Now I've hit it out there maybe 50 yards, and now I have a 120-yard shot into the green. I wasn't trying to put a whole lot of power, but I was just making sure I made decent contact. Now sometimes we put too much emphasis on hitting the ball first and picking it clean. Then what we're doing is we're asking ourselves to have half an inch worth of control over our golf club. So we get into here and we think, well, normally we just hit a shot and we scrape the grass and we hit the ball out there when we're on the fairway. But then we start to think, well, if we're in the bunker, we need to pick it cleaner. We need to clip it off the top of the grass. Yes?
I thought that the sand was supposed to lift it out.
Not so in a fairway bunker.
Oh, okay.
In the greenside bunker, when you're hitting out, you want to use the sand to your advantage, because you might have a big high lip. Now the same thing might be true in a fairway bunker if you have a big high lip. Then you're going to use the sand to create some height. But if you're trying to advance it as far as you can, you're just going to clip it right off the top of that grass or off the top of the sand, just like you do the grass in the fairway. Okay? So you take out a pitching wedge, which will clear the lip, and you just make a nice easy golf swing. And pretend that this is just grass. Don't treat it any differently other than swing a little easier, because you're going to slip a little bit in the sand. Because what happens is we start to scoop with our bodies, well, then we hit the sand first and the ball doesn't go anywhere. Or we try to narrow our focus by a half an inch and try to clip it clean off the top of the sand. Well, then we end up topping it and rolling it into the other part of the bunker, or barely getting out because it rolls up the lip. Yes?
Isn't it true, though, that that's really nice wet sand, so you can hit it a lot further? When the sand's really soft and powdery, it's a lot harder to hit it.
Yeah, if you're making contact pretty clean with the ball, you can hit it equally as far out of both sands. If you have fluffy sand and you're taking a big divot, yes, that's true. Wet sand, the ball will go further if you're actually connecting with the sand on purpose to take a divot. And fluffy sand, you'll hit in and the sand will just absorb all the golf club head and it'll slow everything down. And you're right, it doesn't go as far. But in the fairway bunker, you're just trying to take a nice little thin divot, kind of clip it off the top anyway. So you shouldn't be actually trying to take much sand at all. So in a regular bunker, you're going to dig your feet to bury yourself underneath the sand so that you take a divot. In a fairway bunker, you don't want to do that. In a fairway bunker, you just stand right on top of it, just like you would on the grass. Right? Most people think you have to dig your feet to get traction. Well, then what happens is if you dig your feet in a fairway bunker to get traction, now you're telling yourself it's okay to swing hard. But if you don't grip down on the club, you're going to end up running into the sand back here because you just sunk yourself into the sand, and that's why you take a big divot of sand in the fairway bunker. If you really feel like you need some traction and you want to dig, you have to then remember not to swing hard, and then also remember to grip down on the club. Because you just sunk yourself in 2 inches by digging. You have to counterbalance that by gripping down 2 inches. Okay? Because you're not trying to hit down into the sand. All you're trying to do is make a nice easy swing. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll hit the opposite end of the scale, which is the rescue club, 4-iron, 5-iron, something of that nature. I was describing by setting the club down here the angle that it's going to shoot out at. Okay, let's take a real quick look and see what it does. If I just make a normal swing here,
Never would have.
it barely missed. right? It missed the lip by probably this much. If I miscue just a little bit and hit it down a little bit, that's what happens. So which one would you rather have? That one that barely jumps out, or the pitching wedge,
The last one.
or this one that came out? Well, you have risk reward. I just hit 2 shots with this. I hit one way down there and one right here. If you average the 2 of those, it's actually about the same distance as the pitching wedge. Except the pitching wedge will get me out every time, whereas this one won't get me out every
So
time.
now no opening up the club.
No need to open up the club, because that's just something else that you're doing to manipulate the club. No need to do that. Just take the club with more loft. See, when you get in the fairway bunker, the first thing we think of is, oh no, we're in trouble. We need to make up ground, right? But then we say, well, we need to hit it really far from here because we're in trouble. If I hadn't got in this bunker, my drive would have rolled another 20 yards further. So I'm already 20 yards behind, so that you get this anxiety that you need to make up the difference. Well, that's that downward spiral. All of a sudden you think like you have to do something special rather than take your medicine.
That's good.
Yeah. So you get in here and now you feel like you have to do something special. If I have a lip going in this direction like this and I try to hit my rescue club, and then what happens, right? Automatically we blame our swing. We think, oh no, I did something bad with my swing. I need to change my swing and hit up on it. So then you get in here again and you hit up on it and you do one of those. When it really wasn't the swing at all, it was your club selection. Should never have gone with this club. Should have stuck with the pitching wedge. You would have got out the first time and you wouldn't have all the doubt that you're actually a bad golfer. Right?
But if
Yeah.
you've got a long carry, you're at this end and it's a much longer fairway bunker, and you're really shooting out that way, you do have an option, don't you? Because you've got time to get that loft up.
Yeah, the initial loft right at the point of impact is on a triangle type shape, so it does carry out further. So yeah, depending on how much room you have, you can change the loft. The problem is, what you want to do is you want to get in the bunker and look at it and say, all right, I can get, if I hit let's say you hit a 7-iron. If I hit a 7-iron and I hit it, it might hit the lip. If that's the answer to that question, if I hit a 7-iron, it might hit the lip, go to a 9-iron. So you don't even want to mess with it, so don't go to an 8. Just go straight to the 9 and get out. If you think I can get a 5-wood and it might barely clear the lip, then don't go to the 5-wood, drop 2 more clubs and make sure you get out. Because it doesn't do you any good to stay in here. Right? You might as well take a sand wedge or a pitching wedge, hit it out to a nice safe place in the fairway, and then come in. I've got another bunker way down there at that green, right? It might be smarter for me, just to ensure that I get out, to take my pitching wedge, right? And then instead of taking the 7-iron or the rescue club and going straight at the pin, which now I'm left with, if I hit a great shot, now I'm left with a 50-yard pitch over a bunker. Now it might be smarter for me to actually aim over in this direction, hit my 50-yard shot that way, and now my fairway wood shot is coming back at the green that way, where I can run it right up that gap.
And take management.
So you're making a smart decision to take the right club, to aim in the right direction, to give you the best possible chance on your second shot to go at the pin. So that way you're making smart decisions. Your confidence goes up, up, up. You get out there, you hit a fairway wood, it goes right on the green. You look back at the hole, you made a great score on that hole. You changed a bad situation into a good situation because you were smart enough to get out and take your medicine and do it in a strategic way. So we play this physical game, but we play a big-time mental game as well, and it's important to not dig yourself into a hole because you're not taking your medicine, right? You got yourself in here, just take your medicine, get out and move on. That's what all the best players in the world do, because they know they don't want to mess with that mental roller coaster. They want their mental state and their attitude to stay high. They don't want it to start to dip, because they know mentally when they start to dip, then physically they'll dip even further. All right? Anybody have any questions? Okay.
Oh, we pretty much have that.
All right. There you go. Thank you very much. Have fun. Ourselves to hit a 5-wood onto the green. So you can see how we kind of get ourselves into a rut, and then we stay there because we're not making the right choices. So as far as that's concerned, that's most of the problem. The technique of getting out is a different story, right?